based on the book Dealing with Intolerable People by Dr. Brinkman and Dr. Kirshner, which will introduce us to the types of difficult personalities and how to understand them. We deal with them properly. Enjoy. Who are the people with difficult personalities, and what do they do? Not all people agree on the type of behavior. What you do not accept means that you can easily deal with an exaggerated or cold person, and you do not know how to deal with suspicion, and it may also be that someone considers you a difficult person, but in general there is an implicit agreement about the 10 most difficult behaviors, which are difficult to deal with, and they are the tank that when he gets angry, he does not look in front of him, and the sniper who deliberately embarrasses people with his sarcasm and valuable comments, and of course the time bomb, who takes pictures of the person who explodes on the most trivial occasion. Reason, sign? This is the type of equipment that does not allow anyone to insinuate that he is wrong and he is just fake. His name is the scholar, and he is the one who claims science and knowledge. And he always agrees, but this is more harmful to himself. The hesitant person is the person who likes to take his time in moments of decision-making, and the silent person who does not say anything and has the support of Dia. We all know it. Finally, what a pity he felt in this worldly life, as a barrage descended on him. While I sing his poetry like this, we still talk about each type in detail and how to deal with them. But first, we must understand the truth about their actions. What determines the actions of any person in any situation? The answer is in goals. Any behavior in this world has a specific goal. The book identified 4 goals that define human behavior in general: completing the task, performing the task correctly, getting along with others, and the last goal is obtaining appreciation from others, based on each situation and its goal. A person's behavior varies, and in order to communicate correctly with those around us, we must understand what their goals are at this moment, and this of course appears in their words and in their way of communicating, so we must notice them well. So where do problems appear? Stayed? Problems appear when you deal with a person whose goal is different from yours. The worst thing is when a person feels that his goal will not be achieved, and at that time all the difficult patterns that we mentioned appear. In order to understand them well, we will divide them into 4 groups. The first group represents those who failed to implement the goal of completing the task. There are countries whose behavior tends immediately to control, and this applies to the tank. And the second sign represents those who have the goal of completing the mission in a correct manner, and when they do not succeed, their behavior tends to be pessimistic, and they are skeptical and desperate. But those who are threatened by lack of harmony with others are those who try to do anything to gain people's acceptance. The last group represents those who aim to gain appreciation from others, and those who feel ignored, Pimelo, to attract attention, and include the time bomb, the sniper, and the scientist. We will enter the first group and the way to deal with it. This group tends to control when its goal in executing its tasks is threatening, and we will start with the tank. Mazen was still a new employee in the company, and it was the second day of work. Why not? The manager came to him and he shouted sparks and told him in every possible way that this company has no place, it is not lazy and no one is wasting time, and there are thousands of people who wish to sit in his place and are also ready to pay for an opportunity D costume. Is this tank a person who has a specific goal, and when he thinks that it will not be achieved, he attacks at all times? How do I deal with it? Stay steadfast as you are, do not run away or change your position, and then interrupt his attack by repeating his name so many times, until you get his attention and he stops talking, and you start speaking firmly. What else will you say? Decide quickly, the main point he made to give the impression that you heard him, and then say your goal quickly in 2 sentences in a lot, and in a personal way, i.e. say from my point of view so and so, and continue with what you were doing. The tank will let you go and walk. The second type in this group, the scholar Dr. Atef, is still a new recruit in a hospital, and he was interested in nutritional therapy, but the manager and Dr. Solo was a traditional man who had refused treatment with nutrition all his life, and in a conference where Dr. Atef was speaking on the subject, Dr. Sulla interrupted and said that this is silly talk, treatment with drugs or surgery, but the scholar likes to manage everything in the way he sees as right, and he considers any other methods a challenge to him and his authority. And so you know how to deal with him. You need to be flexible and patient before you think about changing his mind. You must first be prepared and know everything about your topic in order to score. He will watch every word you say, looking for mistakes. It is important that you explain your idea because you understand the genius of his point of view. The most important thing is that you link it to your idea, and when you come to present it, do not say it directly. I do not use words like what you might see, so that it does not appear as if you are challenging him. Benefit from his experiences and turn him into a teacher for you. Thus, we eliminated the first group that was threatened by not performing the required task. We will continue to the second group. This group represents the owners of the goal of completing the task in the right way, who when they fail are very pessimistic like the hopeless and the skeptical, and we will start with desperate despair. This is a person who has a strange ability to eliminate the hopes of others, but he imagines that he is doing this to protect people from disappointment she is coming, and in order to deal with him, right? The first thing you should do is not to show him, and let him be as negative as he wants, and also benefit from his words, because he may reveal something to you. Did you not see it? It can also be used with the reverse response, and this is applied in two ways. The first is that you start by mentioning all the negative aspects of the idea before him, and at that time it is possible that he is the one who thinks of solutions. The second method is that you agree that the issue is hopeless, and that even he does not manage to solve it, and then he is there and will look for solutions. Let us continue to complain. Syria said in a sad voice, "It was really terrible." Miriam, her colleague, said, "Oh, I said it was terrible." This was the fifth time Syria had interrupted her, saying the same thing and complaining. There are useful complaints, such as those that shed light on a problem that needs a solution, or the complaint that expresses our anger and feelings, and there are also hateful complaints that do not provide solutions or change anything, and this is what the skeptics we mean rely on are somewhat similar to the desperate. But the difference here is that you are not supposed to agree with them, not in their opinion at all, so that they don't get carried away, and you are supposed to help them focus on solutions instead of complaining that is useless. How did he stay? The first thing to do is focus on the basic points of their complaint and boycott them if you want to know more details, and then shift the focus towards solutions. If you ask him directly, what do they want? You may find their demands exaggerated, but at least you have passed the point of complaining without benefit, and now you will be able to bring their demands closer to reality. If their complaint has no solution, then they can still say that there is no need to talk about it. We enter the third group, which aims to harmonize with others. This group includes the always agreeable, the hesitant, and the silent one. We will start with the always agreeable Noor and Ruwiya Kaf, in coordination with an important presentation for the job, and the two agreed on what they would do. On the day of the show, Noor was late to see Roya, so I went to her office and found her doing a completely different job for one of their colleagues. A number of papers came out, claiming that they were part of the show and that they weren't complete either, and argued that their colleague Mary Rawia's office had been organized. At that time, she fell from her height. Why is that, Noor? Noor belongs to the style of Al-Muwafaq, always. This style does not think about the consequences of his words, does not know how to plan, and imposes obligations on himself and his capabilities, just because he wants to harmonize and please those around him, but this in the end annoys those in front of them more. Because they do not keep their promises. But how can you change this? I tried to create a safe space in which the person can think, can he really do what is required of him or not? Encourage him to speak honestly with you, and help him learn that he plans and manages his tasks, right? If he promises you something, make sure he will stick to it. You can do this in more than one way, such as asking him to repeat the promise and say exactly what he will do. He followed the second difficult pattern with him. His goal is to get along with others. He is hesitant, the problem of the hesitant. They look like my uncle's house. When they come, they make a decision, but do not despair. You can help them, but how? The first expressed your understanding of their fear of making a decision and discussed the matter with them, and introduced them to a system that can help them in choosing, such as writing the pros and cons of each decision on a piece of paper and comparing them, and after he decides, they are reassured that he chose the right decision, and that there is no such thing as a perfect decision, another. A type in this group is the silent one. The silent person is a negative person who tends to withdraw and remain silent for fear of problems. How do I deal with him? Give him his time, and don't try to press it. When he starts speaking, he relies on open-ended questions that make him expand. And you are interested in hearing his opinion. And if you don't succeed, put yourself in the place of this person, and think about the reasons for his silence and suggest him. It may happen that they will be happy to talk like that. We finished the third group and left the last group looking for appreciation from others. When this group feels unappreciated, it tries to attract the attention of those around it in any way. The first type in this group is the sniper. Kareem and Samir, engineers at Kareem Company, were older and more experienced than Samir, so it was expected that Kareem was watching for Samir, but that did not happen. Kareem remained silent. No, at every possible opportunity, he would talk about Samir and make people laugh at him, and all of this was compensation for his feeling that he was unable to deal with the sniper who liked this. Do not take the matter to your nerves, and do not make it larger than its size. How? The first is to stop him from talking, cut him off, and calmly repeat what he said as if you were saying that your sarcasm did not hurt Nish, and then ask him what he meant by that. What is its relationship to the current situation? The most important thing is to be completely calm. At that time, he feels embarrassed and stops, and if you discover that he has a real problem with you, talk about it. Honestly, the second type of the fourth group is the educated person. Rami is a very greedy person and does not wait for someone to ask him to say his opinion. No, he volunteers his experiences, his unique ideas and the people who knew him for what he really was were avoiding him, but whoever gets to know something new was impressed, and this is because the educated people have a unique ability to study subject enough, which makes them appear as if they know everything about him, and if you can't stand people who provide wrong information, he will be the one who helps you embarrass them in front of people. But don't do that because his concern goes too far, and you may be the one who turns out to be wrong. What should I do? Give them the attention they want, but in a small amount that you, for example, acknowledge their positive intention to participate, and if you know the topic they are talking about well, and you are sure that they are discussing, ask about the details of the topic, but in an innocent way, and then tell the neighborhood that you know, and if you can find its source, it will also come out. Then it will become clear that they are wrong. But also, don't burn them and give them a chance to withdraw smartly. The last type in the fourth group is the Mark and Mary time bomb. They lived happily as a couple for 6 years. What's the problem? They have been married to their grocery store for 15 years and the last 9 years. They only had one problem. She was exploding with so much anger as he walked and left her. And the more she walked, her anger increased. This explosion remains a means. Someone resorts to her. Why does he feel unimportant? And if you exploded too or withdrew, you will increase the issue even more. It is better for you to try to control the situation. The first thing to attract the bomb's attention is by calling his name or raising your voice a little. Then, show your interest in him and your understanding of the reason for his explosion, and give him time to calm down before you talk about the problem. Finally, know what makes him angry so that you can avoid it in the future. Thus, we have concluded the methods of dealing with all difficult personalities. There is only one thing left. What if you are the difficult person? Take care of what is coming. If you are the tank, your desire to achieve your goals is never an excuse for insulting those around you. You are the sniper. When you are annoyed by a certain person, tell him and do not use devious methods. If you are the sign, is that any interaction with any person is considered an opportunity to learn something new. If you are the learner, by admitting your mistake or your lack of knowledge about a particular subject, you don't like this at all. If you are a ticking time bomb, learn how to express your emotions in a positive and healthy way. If you are always agreeable and try to please everyone around you, you will fail, you will fail, you will fail. If you are the doubter, instead of complaining, ask yourself what I can do to change this thing. If you are desperate, learn from your negative experiences and do not allow them to be. They will make you unable to live. If you are silent, speak up. If you are hesitant, making a decision, a text is 100 times better than not making a decision at all. Finally, there is no such thing as a difficult person or an easy person, but there is a person I understand and a person I do not understand. So understand people before you judge them, and know how to deal with them, and only that.